because she knows there's someone better for her.
I had to like dress up as like a big, huge, glamour, like cardboard star, and then the mean people were throwing cups at me. It's always been a dream of mine to dress up as a big star, you know? Pretty cool.
Hi, I am nervous to do this video. I finally made myself start filming this video. I tried earlier in the week to start filming this, and it was just too difficult and I had to stop. So hopefully I could do it right now. My name is Presley Cash, and if you don't know me, you probably do. You just don't, your brain isn't processing it. I am the star in Taylor Swift's Mean music video. Someday I'll be living in a big old city. And it has been viewed over, or almost, I believe, 200 million times. So it's so crazy to think that like 200 million people have seen my face. So if you think you don't know me, you probably do. It's probably somewhere in your subconscious. Or if you're a Swiftie like all of us, you're like, whoa, that's crazy. I filmed the video back in 2011. And I feel like this video is long overdue, and I feel like I should have done this video a long time ago, but I feel like now I have the courage and the confidence and the wiseness or whatever. I have the ability to put it into words now. I want to talk about my experience with Taylor and the Mean video. And because like when I go on live streams and stuff like that on Instagram and Twitter, everybody wants to know my experience. And I feel like it would just be really a good thing if I had it somewhere online where people could just watch my story and get the full thing in detail. I've never talked about it in like this much detail before. And like I'll tell the story kind of on live streams and stuff, but never to this degree. When I booked the Mean music video, I was being heavily bullied to the point where I was like physically ill, and I've been bullied throughout my life. So I wanted to make this video so people know that that girl that I played in that video was me. Like it wasn't acting, like it was real. And I just think it's so important, and I get tons of messages like on social media and stuff how my character helped people and inspired people when they were going through something, and how people have grown up watching this video and they looked to me as inspiration and guidance. And I really want those people to know that I'm just like them. Like I was the girl in that video. And like even like on Twitter, like there was this girl that messaged me when she finally, or she tweeted, she was like, she finally figured out like who I was, because a lot of people don't really process it because I kind of look different now, but people don't really process it because I don't look the same. But she finally figured it out, and she put two and two together, and she was like, oh my god, you're the girl from the video. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, you're one of the reasons I became a lawyer, because your character impacted me so much. And I see a lot of stories like that where it's just like, oh my god, like I was such a broken person at the time I did the Mean music video. And it's so amazing to know that a broken little girl could have inspired someone to go and like live out their dreams. I wanted to, well, maybe I'm sucking. I wanted to look up some facts about the Mean music video and just Mean in general. And the song Mean won the Grammy Award for Best Country Song and Best Country Solo Performance at the 54th Grammy Awards. And Rolling Stone ranked Mean at number 24 on their list of the 100 greatest country songs of all time, the highest ranking for a song released in the 21st century. So I'm going to be talking about my experiences being bullied, but I don't want to go into too much detail because it is very painful for me, but it's probably going to be very hard anyway to talk about. Okay guys, I had to get some more coffee because girl's going through it. Okay, like when I was little and I would be in school, um, I was always different. Like I lived in my own little world. Like I was always making up songs or like giving dance lessons to people on the playground, like all this weird stuff. And I just had my own reality sort of thing, and a lot of kids didn't understand that. And so, like one experience I had was when I was in first grade, and this girl was giving out invitations to her birthday party at her house, and everybody in the class got an invitation but me. And the mom, I'm literally, oh my god, that's so dumb. I'm gonna start crying. No, so the mom came up to me and like away from everybody else, and she was like, "Now, this is why we're having a cake here in class, so everybody can celebrate her birthday. And just because, like, you know, we have a really, like, small house, and, but I was the only person not invited. And, but it was like this mom, like a mother, came up to me and started, like, trying to console me. And like it's so shocking that the mother allowed her daughter to invite the whole class and not me. So, and I remember my mom, like we were talking about this the other day, like when we were, you know, talking about all these experiences, and she was like, "Yeah, you were like very upset about it, and you like came home, and like on the ride home, my mom was like, how was your day?" And I was like so upset because I was like the only person not invited to this party, and everybody else was. So it's like it started like with those awful things, and like I would be in choir, and the teacher would be like, "Oh, like you need to blend in with everybody else. Like you need to tone it down. Like you need to just kind of blend in." And and so that was like at a young age, my creativity was being squashed a little bit from the establishment. You know, like tone it down. And another thing that I wasn't even planning on talking about, but I remember there was this talent show at my elementary school, and I was so excited because I was gonna sing a song I wrote. And I auditioned with a song that I wrote, and it probably wasn't like the best song ever, but it was like nobody else was like, just nobody else was thinking this way. So I auditioned with a song that I wrote that I was so proud of, and I was turned down. I did not get in the talent show, but basically like everybody else that auditioned did. And I was just like, and I was like, I got this Barbie fabric. My mom was gonna make a dress for me out of this Barbie fabric, and I was so lit. And I didn't get in. And but like literally like everybody else that auditioned did. And it was just like so disheartening because it was like, so this person that's like doing all this creative, like kind of outward thinking, like writing a song and auditioning for the talent show with it, or singing a little different than everybody else, like she's gonna be reprimanded, if that's the right word. I was homeschooled after 5th grade, so was that a right word? So it kind of started like in this whole story, like you'll see that some of it was kids, but a lot of it was adult driven, my bullying experiences. So like that happened, but I really have to talk about this one teacher I had, and what's this song? I feel like I'm gonna just start crying this whole video. This one teacher I had, I was kept in from recess, and I was like telling her, I was like, look, I was like in 3rd grade, I was like, look, I have a dance class that I need to be teaching out there right now, because I was like a crazy kid. And she was like just laughing it off and stuff, and she knew that I was like into writing songs and like doing creative things, and she sat me down when I was inside for recess, and she taught me how to write songs, like the structure form of how to write a song. And like the verse 1, like chorus, like verse 2, chorus, like bridge, like she taught me how to write it all down in like a song form. And I had like written rap for like this book report that I did, and I like walked all around the classroom, and I was like banging on tables and like doing this theatrical performance. And then at the end of the class, like I just left the classroom. Like this was my exit. Like this was the whole like production of it. So she knew that I was like out there, and her name was Mrs. Mitchell. And like just the fact that, you know, and a lot of people in that, you know, kids and adults, and they didn't get me, they didn't understand me, but to have one person like understand and teach me that was like one of the best gifts. And to know like from a young age that somebody cared about you in that way. And like I have a learning disability in math. I didn't think I was gonna cry this much. I have a learning disability in math, and so when I was in 3rd grade, I was having to use like 2nd grade workbooks, and I was like in like doing the 2nd grade workbook in the classroom, and I just remember like kids just like ripping me a new one. Like they're like, "Oh, you're so stupid. You're using like a 2nd grade book." And I would try to lie, be like, "No, this is like a 7th grade book." Be like, "No, okay." But it just like kids are mean. Like it was so hard, and I also had like a reading issue too, like in that time frame. So I was having to use like these younger books because I wasn't as advanced as everybody else. And I remember being in like reading clubs, and like we would all have the same book, and everybody would be like, "I'm like on page 85," and I'm like, "I'm on page 10." Like, so it was always like everybody was smarter, everyone was better, everybody was accepted. And I was just like this person that was like wanting to write songs and wanting to be creative and in my own world. Like I remember like going to school in like these like amazing like outfits that like me and my mom would like make together, and people bullying me about it. Like I remember this my mom and I went down to this like shopping area called the Strip where I'm from, and we saw this like pink fluffy fur coat, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's like my dream coat." And so we bought this coat, and I was so excited to wear it to school the next day. And I got there, and it was just like awful. Like everybody was making fun of me. Everybody was calling me like a flamingo. And but for some reason I didn't feel the need to stop being myself. I was just like, this is what I love, and they might not get it, but I feel good wearing these types of things, and I feel good being myself. Like it did not feel good to be ridiculed for it, but for some reason I just never was like, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice myself for these people. Like in elementary school, like this girl like bullied me and forced me, like because I had like all these like, you know, flamboyant outfits and stuff, and I was like a different type kid, and I had this girl like literally force me, bully me into cutting my own shirt. And she was like, "If you don't cut your shirt, like I'm not gonna be your friend." And I was just like this little girl, and I just wanted a friend, and she bullied me into cutting my shirt, and I loved that shirt. So it's just like things that were like, you know, people try to hold things over your head. All this kind of stuff was happening to me. And it continued to happen. And then I became like a teenager, and I became homeschooled. And I was like, I would have never survived real middle school or real high school, because I would have just been completely destroyed, more than I already was. So I became homeschooled, and I was, you know, I was an actor, and still am an actor and stuff, and I was a musician, and well, more so like a singer at that point. I wasn't like doing any instruments and stuff, but so I was in this, you know, community of other kids that were into the same things I was, and that was very helpful. I can't speak. Very helpful for me, but I still experienced a lot of things. So I was in this, like, one example was I was in this group, and it was like this, like, creative group or whatever, and there was, and it's interesting for me because even though, like, I was in this creative environment, like, yeah, I had, like, a lot of, like, some good friends and good experiences, but also in this creative environment, there were people that just still couldn't stand me. It's just weird because you would think, like, oh, she finally found her tribe. So I was in this creative group thing, and there was, like, about, I think, 6 people, and one of my very best friends was in that group, so it was kind of like a safety blanket for me, because I had my, like, best friend with me during all this. But there was, like, 6 people in total in the group, and there was this girl that just hated me, like, and I'm 6 foot tall right now. I don't know how tall I was back then. But I've always been taller than everybody. And I like that about myself. Like, I love who I am. Like, I love that I'm tall. But a lot of people have problems with it. And this girl, she was shorter, because everybody is shorter than me. In this group, it was like, we had to, like, basically, it was like a thing where we were gonna, like, make this play, make this, like, creative theater production. We only had, like, $100 to do it all. And me and my best friend wrote all the music for this production, and I came up with the whole concept. So there, again, it was like I was excelling at this creative process, and I also, like, did, like, costume design and, like, all this stuff for this production. And so this girl was just, like, so mean to me. But, like, there would be, because, you know, there would be times when she would act nice, and then she would, like, backstab me. And then, because I feel like that's a lot of what bullies do, like, they kind of sometimes act nice to you to kind of pull you in, and then they just knock you out. And I remember one night we were all at one of the team members' houses, and we were, like, working on our stuff, and she just goes in, like, in front of everybody. And there was, like, 3 girls and 3 guys in this production. I don't know what this is. She's like, you know, no guys are ever gonna like you. You're a giant. And that just, like, messed me up. Like, to have somebody, and I was a teenager, and, like, to be, like, in that, you know, age bracket, and to have somebody literally say, like, no guys are ever going to like you because you're a giant. Like, you're so big. Like, that was awful. And that was, like, and I've had, like, multiple people, like, you know, comment about my height, comment about, and they might not go, like, oh, you're so tall. They'll be like, you're so big. And I'm like, if one more person says how big I am, like, and it's just, like, awful. And, like, this girl was just, like, I was in this group. I finally eventually quit because of this girl, because I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, every week I was going in and being just verbally abused by this girl. When I would tell the leaders of this group, like the adults, like, one time they sat all of us down and was like, you know, everybody needs to get their act together. And I'm like, thinking, no, it's only her. Like, why don't you pinpoint the bully out? Why are you acting like it's everything? And then, like, you know, other people in the group are like, yeah, like, I could work on I'm like, no, like, it's just this one person. So I feel like sometimes in those situations, like, adults are, like, intimidated and scared by a bully, and they don't want to deal with the situation head on, and they want to make it look like it's a general issue, and they don't want to pinpoint the bully. And I've experienced that a lot. And I eventually quit because nothing was getting solved, and she was still, you know, terrorizing me, like, every week. And that was a whole thing in itself. But I remember like in my community, like there was just like a lot of people that were like creative like me, and I was still different. It was like I was the outcast of the circus. So I lived in this community of other kids that were into this, that had the same passions as me. We were creative people, but I still always felt like the outcast. And there was this group of kids that we called the Brat Pack. And they would like, you know, they were like this like clique. Like, so it was basically like a school, and like they would walk around, and you know, they were like just like the cool kids type thing. And I remember I was walking, they had like this new person in their clique that they were like initiating into their group or whatever. And I remember walking by this whole group of teenagers, and the new guy in the group was like, said something like, oh, like she's cute, she's hot, or something like that, I don't know. And this whole group of people literally was like, ew, that is so disgusting. Are you kidding me? That makes me want to vomit. She's nasty. And they were just saying all these like vile things about me as I walked by. And like, I just like so mortified. Like, at first, like, I was like, ooh, like, that guy's cute. Like, he's, like, saying that I'm cute, blah, 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 blah. And then it was just like, boom! Like, you can't have a good moment because someone's gonna ruin it. And I literally remember, like, the shirt I was wearing. Like, I was wearing my Rolling Stone shirt. And it had, like, rhinestones on it. And I just felt so cool. And then it was just like, wow. Like, punched in the face. Like, and it's awful, like, it's awful to have, like, a group of people, like, your age saying how nasty and disgusting you are to this new person that doesn't even know you. Because it's like, you see a new person, and you're like, wow, like, they don't know that I'm a loser. Like, they don't know that nobody likes me. Like, this is a fresh start. And then, like, to just be like, nope. This girl, she's disgusting and you should not like her, and you're disgusting for liking her. And this pack of people, like, and I feel like this is kind of like a pattern I've seen with bullies, is they'll act like they like you sometimes, just to kind of like, they'll reel you in and then they'll like knock you down. Like, it's like a mind game thing. It's like a control thing. And this group, like, they would, throughout the years, would, you know, sometimes would act like they liked me. And I wanted them to like me. Like, I wanted, like, the cool kids to like me. And I wanted to feel included in something. Which is in a really abusive situation because, you know, one night they would be, like, acting like I was, you know, on their level. And then, not, like, necessarily, they would just be being nice to me. And then the next day they'd treat me like trash. So it was like, I was just like this young teenage girl just wanting to be liked. The leader of the Brat Pack, like, was my best friend years before. Like, we were best friends. And then as he got older, he formed the Brat Pack and decided he hated me. So that was also a mind game because I was like, this person was like my best friend. Like, we would, like, I'd go over to his house and we'd, like, watch movies together and we'd hang out. And, like, he even went, I had a birthday party when I was, like, 11 years old, and he literally went birthday party decoration shopping with my mother. Like, that's how close we were. And so he decided that I was trash, and he formed this whole group, the Brat Pack. And so that was, like, throughout the years, it was, like, my problem was, like, you were good at one point, and then you decided you hated me. But I was just with some kids that I knew. And we went down to this park in our community, and the Brat Pack was there. And the lead person in the Brat Pack started making fun of me and mocking me, and that was my best friend at one point. So it was just like, it hurt extra hard. Like, it was extra awful. And he started, like, mocking me and making fun of me, and then, like, all these people had, like, pool noodles, And they were like all guys too, like down at the park that night. And they just started like beating me up with these pool noodles, like physically hurting me. And so like I said, like I grew up in this community of, you know, actors. Like we were all actors. And Dylan Mignette from 13 Reasons Why was there because we grew up together. And he was saying like, stop beating her up, like stop bullying her, like this is not right, this is like mean, like you need to stop. And he was the only person that night that stood up for me. And I think about that now and I go, his role in 13 Reasons Why is like him. Like what he did for me was like so powerful to do, because when I was at a park by myself, like basically defenseless at night with a whole bunch of mean people, Dylan like stood up for me, and that meant so much. And you know, he was risking a lot. Like they could have just, you know, turned on to him, or they could have, you know, he just, the courage he had to do that. And so I think it's kind of crazy that I ended up getting this role in the meme music video where I was playing a bullied girl, and he ended up getting the role in 13 Reasons Why, where he was so caring and so like just, you know, pissed off that these people were getting away with what they were getting away with Hannah. He really like saved, that sounds very dramatic, but he saved my life that night, because I don't know what would have happened if nobody would have intervened, because they were like physically hurting me. And I don't know how worse it would have gotten. And I think the people that I was with, like my friends, but they were like acquaintances, I think they knew they were down there, and they brought me down there purposely to get cornered by this. And they were all like guys, like, and I was like this little girl, so it was like, you know, they were like big and they had like weapons. Like, I know pool noodles don't seem like they'll hurt, but they really do. Like if someone's using all their force, they hurt. And it just messes with your mind, because it was like this person that you were very close with and your whole family was close with, all of a sudden like is a demon. Like that's really how it felt. And like it was crazy because I wanted them to like me. And that's like a dangerous thing, especially when you're young, because you're seeing these people and they're supposedly the cool people. But when you get older, you realize that you didn't want those kind of people to like you. But in that moment, you're like, you just want to be accepted, and you just want to be like, have a label of cool, you know? But being mean isn't cool. And this head bully, one day, like I was walking down the street, like with my mom, and I was walking into my apartment building, and he chased me down, and he got into the hallway and he pushed me over and like got on top of me and started physically assaulting me. And my mom was like, what are you doing? And then he just like, he left. But for somebody to have like the guts to do that in front of a parent, like, and I was like frozen in fear, because when those kind of situations happen, like you know, it's like fight or flight. Like I just like went somewhere else in my mind. Like I was just like frozen with fear, because, and remember, like this was somebody I had trusted so much. Like we went through a lot together as young kids, and then like to have somebody that you trust like completely just, you know, turn on you and physically harm you and chase you down and knock you over, like that was like, you know. And I'm so lucky that, you know, I've only had a couple instances where I've been like physically hurt by a bully. I can't even imagine like other people that have, you know, been in awful altercations. But like just from what I've experienced, it's so scary. It's like you don't know what's going to happen, and you're frozen. So you can't necessarily fight back, because that's an instant reflex that the human body does. It's like, oh my God, like I don't even know what to do right now. That whole thing, like that happened for years and years, this whole pack of people. Some of the people hacked into my YouTube account and deleted all my videos of my like performances and stuff like that. And they hacked into my Facebook, and they hacked into my emails, and they basically just wanted to make my life a living hell. And some of the people that did these things, I mean, I could right now expose them because you probably know them, but I'm not gonna do that. I've wanted to focus on the good person in the story that has notoriety, and that's Dylan. But the other people, you could be shook, so, but I'm not gonna do it, because I'm not a bully. So, not gonna lie, it's the next day. And hopefully my hair is parted the same way as it was yesterday. But I did take the liberty of drinking out of the same mug. I had won this contest for this like performing arts theater program, and I auditioned with like, I think I literally auditioned with Hoedown Throwdown by Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus, and I got in. I won this contest, and a lot of my peers wanted to win as well, but I won. And so in my neighborhood and stuff, there was this area that like me and like some of my friends would go like every day, and we would play like baseball and like play games out there, and it was like really fun, and that was like a lot of like fond memories for me. And we would go and hang out like every day. And I remember the group of people that lured me down to the park that night showed up, and a couple other people. And these aren't people in the Brat Pack, like this is completely like a different set of people. They were very upset that I had won this competition for this performing arts theater program. And they started saying things like, you were too prepared, and I'm like thinking, it's a competition, like of course I'm gonna be prepared, like I take this really seriously. And they were just saying all these like mean things about how like I didn't deserve to win, like they were mad that I won, they wanted to win, blah 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 blah. And I remember this girl, she like looked like, the look in her face was so terrifying, and she was like, and her voice like even changed when she said this, like she meant this. She was like, stared right into my eyes and was like, I'm going to kill you. And I had never felt that fear before. And her and about 5 other girls started chasing me. And at this point, like me and my friends were running, and I had never run that fast in my life. Like I don't even know how I ran that fast, but they chased me all the way home, and I finally made it back home. And I was like, this is getting like really serious now, because I was fearful of even going outside, like, and that was like my area where I could like, you know, have fun and play and be like a kid, and that was even being taken away from me. And I was fearful of my life. And so like a couple of days later, it might have been the next day, I had dirty underwear on my door, and eggs thrown at my door, and tampons at my door, and all this awful, disgusting stuff on my door. To have someone go to that extent, like know where you live, like that's supposed to be your sacred space, like that's supposed to be your safe zone, and to have somebody like put dirty underwear on your doorknob and tampons, like used tampons at your door, and eggs, and just that lack of respect for you as a human being. That's where it was like, I can't even leave my house. And even in my house, I was afraid. Like that's a whole new game. Like when you're in your house, and you're afraid when you're in your house. And I think that the girl that chased me and said she was going to kill me. I think her parents got involved. I'm pretty sure her parents got involved because our car got broken into several times. And they would be going down the hallways, like yelling vulgar things. They would ding dong ditch us. We got into our car one day and it was having a lot of problems, so we took it in to get it looked at, and the people said, like, somebody got in our car, cut our belts. They said this is the only way to explain this because it was straight and then it was jagged. You literally could have gotten into a car accident and died. So somebody was out to get me. The hell that I went through for months, like, it was for months, and I used to be a very social person. I am a social person, and to go from being so social and so outgoing to being in my house, afraid 24/7, having to shut my curtains basically all the time because I was afraid of, you know, them spying on me or finding things to try to use against me, or like, and I came to the point where it was like I was under so much stress that I became physically ill, like, for months. Like, I was having flu symptoms, and every time I would go outside to, like, go to the car, I'd, like, be, like, running. I'd be, like, you know, like, I just don't want them to see me. I don't want them to find me. But it was like they knew where I lived. They knew what they were doing. We were receiving death threats in the mail from unknown sources. And but the fact to have somebody, like, I had never had that fear before, to have somebody tell you, like, to your face, like, I'm going to kill you. And I believed it. I believed it when she said she was going to kill me. Something in her eyes, like, I believed it. Not to, your safety is gone, like, and my family's safety. Like, it wasn't just, this was like a whole new level because it wasn't just me, it was my family and our safety. Because we got into that car and we could have died. Luckily, we were protected from that. The group of girls that lured me down to the park that night and came to my hangout area and threatened to kill me, I was, like, looking at their Facebook one day, and they would post videos of people getting beat up, like, and beaten in the head, and they were, like, going, like, LOL and stuff. So, like, that really, like, scared the crap out of me, because I was like, so if they're posting these videos and thinking it's funny and laughing, they could have done that to me. And if I wasn't able to outrun them, like, what would have happened? And I think one of the worst things that happened during that time is I had somebody took a picture of me and burnt my head off and put it at my door. And that's where I felt like, is this even real? Like, what am I living right now? Like, is this even real? Somebody took a picture of me and burnt my head off. They wanted me to know that they were that evil. Like, they must have got some sort of kick out of it. But then, so all this stuff was happening, and, you know, like I said, it was around, like, it was in April, and, like I said, I'm an actor, and, we were on, like, these websites where you can submit yourself, for, like, projects and movies and music videos and TV shows and stuff like that. And it came across that it was, they were looking for actors for the Taylor Swift Mean music video. And I think it just said Taylor Swift video because they weren't wanting to give it away. And it was around the time when, like, laptops, like, first got webcams in them. So, like, we were, like, so, like, unprofessional and stuff. But we submitted a picture that we took on my webcam. And I was like, this is a cool picture. I'm gonna send this picture. So we sent that. And I never thought I would get the call for the audition. And I got the call that I got the audition, and it was it was just pandemonium. It was crazy. Like, we were freaking out, and we got like the breakdowns and stuff, and it was like a bullied young girl, and it gave like the character breakdown and stuff like that. And like, it was very weird how this video came to me at a time where I was playing this out in real life. And it was like the worst it had ever been. And so we went to go to like CVS to like blow up this picture to an 8x10. But you can't blow up webcam pictures. So we literally brought to Taylor Swift's audition a 4x6 photo of me that was blurry as hell. You could barely tell I had a face, and it was connected to like my 8x10 resume. So it looked janky. And I remember I wore this, I wore like my hair in a side ponytail and this like green 80s shirt with like designs on it, like on the pocket, and like grease stains on it. Like, what? I still have the shirt. I wore like these like bulky socks, and I remember going to the audition, and like I was so nervous because it was Taylor, and I loved Taylor. Like, I was like just freaking out that I was even getting to audition for something that she was doing. And so I went into the audition, and it was like this waiting room with like tons of girls, like just tons of girls. They were all going out for this role, and like everybody wanted this role because it was Taylor. And it was like the biggest thing to get at that time. And so there was tons of girls, and there was probably like thousands and thousands and thousands of submissions for this role, just for my role. And in LA, they only bring in probably around like 40 people. Like, you can't bring in like 10,000 people. It's just not possible. So they probably only brought in 40, 50 people for my role. And I was one of them. So that was like already winning the lottery. It was like, so I get in there, and, you know, it's kind of intimidating, and everybody has their like glamorous headshots, and I have my like 4x6 webcam photo, like a psychopath. And I check in, and they paired me up with two bullies, and one of the girls that was my bully actually got into the video, which was really cool. And they were like, the girl that was checking us in was like, they're going to make you stay in there until you make her cry, talking to me. I was like, oh no. And then the bullies were like, we can't make her cry, like, she's too sweet, we don't want to do that. And I was just like, oh my god, this is like a Taylor Swift video, this is really important. I don't, like, crying on cue for an actor, for me at least, is like, at that time was very hard and daunting, and I was like, I can't just like go in there and they're like, cry, like, I can't do it, man. Like, it's like awful, like, it's so awful. Like, imagine if I just was like, cry right now. But it was just very daunting, and it was Taylor, and it was like this big thing, and I loved her so much, and this role would mean so much for me to get. And we went in, and it was two people. And thinking about the story now, like when I was gonna do this video, I was really, really thinking about it. And there was like a black, like, tinted thing behind them, like glass. And I'm pretty sure she could have been behind there. But we don't know. To this day, we don't know. And they said, okay, we're gonna like do this improv scene. And like, the improv was the chippy cheddar girl scene, like in front of the diner. They're like, be mean to her and you're going to cry. And they started bullying me and being mean to me, and it just like hit me, because I was going through that exact same thing. And I don't know if I really allowed myself before this time to express all that I was going through. But at that moment in that audition, I let it go. I started sobbing so hard that they had to stop the audition. And they were like, are you okay? They really were like concerned about my well-being. And I was like, I'm okay. And they like gave me tissues, and they were like, oh my God, like they could tell something was seriously wrong with me. And so I did the audition, and, you know, in this town, they say, like, throw away your script. Like, basically, like, don't get your hopes up for anything. And, you know, I was going through such a hard time anyway that I didn't want to get my hopes up thinking I was going to be in a Taylor Swift video and then be like, wow, like, that sucks. I didn't get it. And a couple days later, like, they call me and they're like, you booked it. You booked the Taylor Swift video. And that was one of the best moments of my life. A couple days later, like, they call me and they're like, you booked it. You booked the Taylor Swift video. And that was one of the best moments of my life. And just to book that and to have used my real life emotions in that audition and to know that it resonated. And so we did like wardrobe fittings, and it was at the Orpheum Theater, and the Orpheum Theater is such an iconic place, and so many amazingly talented people have played there. Like, it's such a historical place. And so we did these wardrobe fittings, and we were you know, figuring out the look and getting my star costume. And it was like so long ago, and I was so young that like literally I had just started putting mascara on my underneath eyelashes. Like, and it was like probably like on my skin too. Like, so it was like that long ago, and I was like so young, and I just started doing that. And I remember just like I tried on one of the outfits, and the director, Declan, is it Declan? Declan Whitebloom, Declan, I think I should know that. He was like this British guy, and he was like, I don't, you know, like, she looks good in everything she puts on. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, what is going on right now? He was so nice and so sweet. And I like just trying on the star was like, like, it was like, what is happening right now? So we were doing the wardrobe fittings and stuff, and it was so cool because like I got to see all these clothes and all these heels and try on things, and it was like so glamorous and stuff. And so the day of the shoot, like, so the project, like the code name was called the Hummingbird Project, and the day of the shoot, like blocks and blocks and blocks were just blocked off. Nobody could get in anywhere near the Orpheum Theater because it was such a big deal. And I remember driving in and like practicing, like lip syncing the song in the car before I went in, and just being like so excited and nervous and thinking like how big of a deal this was, that, you know, there was just like blocks and blocks blocked off from the public, and I was in there, like I was inside of there. And I remember going in and like getting my makeup done, and like it really wasn't like I had put on foundation and like just like the little things, because it was like I woke up early that day because it was an early call time and it was still dark out, and I remember like painting my nails red and like getting ready, and just like that innocence of and that excitement, because it was like I had not had any excitement, I had not had any happy moments, and that day was like, this is the best day of my life. And so just like those little things. And I remember, because I had put foundation on and that was it. And I also remember like, because my teeth, I still had like Invisalign in and stuff, so my teeth weren't like very straight. And so I auditioned with my Invisalign in, and I booked it with my Invisalign in. And so I was like, oh my God, I gotta wear my Invisalign because I don't want them to fire me, because I don't want them to see I have crooked teeth. So I put on my Invisalign, and I had put foundation on and stuff, and that was like it. Like, they didn't even really have to do my makeup. They were just doing my hair and stuff like that. And I was sitting there, so it was just like so crazy to think about all the people that were in that room, like getting ready for the shows that they put on there. I just spilled some coffee on my sweater. I don't know, I think maybe you can see it, but that's me. I spill things constantly. The tea and the coffee and every food I eat. I like, that's a problem. Anyway, that's another video where I expose myself as being a spiller. I'm kidding. Okay. So I remember sitting in the chair getting my hair done. I was sitting there and I heard like walking, I heard walking down the hall, and I was like, I think that's Taylor. I heard her voice, and I heard her footsteps, almost said feet steps, and she came in, and the way that she looked at me was like she understood me. Like, that sounds crazy to say, but it was like she looked at me and she knew. And she was like, "Can I give you a hug?" And I'm thinking like, like, of course you can, you're Taylor Swift. And she gave me a hug, and she was like, "I just want to let you know that I picked you personally for this video." And hearing those words come from like your hero is like, especially at that time in my life, was like, she was like the beacon of light, like, that I needed so desperately. And she was the source of happiness for me. And to have somebody that you look up to so much pick you personally for her music video about what you're going through, it was like the best feeling ever. She was so sweet to let me know that. And I remember just like going on set, and it was like this big Orpheum Theater and this big historical place. Like, the Orpheum Theater on Broadway in downtown Los Angeles opened on February 15th, 1926 as the fourth and final Los Angeles venue for the Orpheum. Vaudeville? What does that say? I don't know. Circuit. The renovation started in 1989! It's a conspiracy! It is the most restored of the historical movie palaces in the city. So, and I looked it up, like, Amy Schumer's gonna perform there. It's just like such an iconic place, and being on stage in the star outfit and looking out at like this is, I think it seats like 2,000 something people, looking at this like amazingly beautiful place and being on stage and getting set up to do these scenes. And I was doing these scenes, and I remember like in the bedroom scene, like Taylor was right there. She was like on set and very hands-on, and I did this sigh that ends up being in the video, and she was like, "That sigh, like, that was so beautiful, like, I felt that." And I remember like weird little things, like I had like an assistant on set, and like she would give me water, and it was like a water bottle with like a cap and then like a hole in the cap and a straw, which I need because I spill things on me all the time. But she would come up and do that, and it's just like fun, crazy stuff that, you know, you remember when you're like that young. And like something that exciting is happening, you're like, whoa, they even have like fancy water bottles. Like, and how did they make the holes in those caps? And I think it's Declan. Declan Whitebloom was so amazing to work with. He was so nice and so supportive. And I think everybody could kind of tell that I was in a fragile place. And it was like just the electricity on that stage. And doing like the Chippy Cheddar Girl scene, it was just like the electricity I felt in that moment. And it was crazy because you don't really think about the impact when you're doing it that it's going to have, especially me because I was so broken. And so for me to have been doing that and to not even know what was going to happen after that video was released is like out of this world. And the bedroom scene was so fun, and I was like, good thing I painted my nails because they were doing the close-up on my hands on the piggy bank. And then I remember they took my picture to put in a frame on my CEO desk. We did that whole scene of the chippy cheddar girl in the bedroom scene, and I remember like through the door I had to walk a certain way because I was in this star outfit. And then like when I was on the bed, like nobody really sees this, but this arm I had to push the star back and then sit down because like you can't really sit down in like a star. So I had to like do all that and just like the behind the scenes of it all. And so after that whole scene, I got to get my makeup did, actually. And like Taylor, we were just like all hanging out, and it was like so fun, and it was just like we had known each other forever. And I got my makeup done, and I remember like, because in the beginning I just kind of looked like, you know, like, oh, chippy cheddar girl, like, and then like I got this dress on, heels on, like my makeup on, and I remember walking through the set, and everybody was just like, damn, like, whoa, you clean up good. And like the bullies were like, damn. You're like, whoa. I was like, hey. I was like, I'm a cool kid today. But we did the CEO scene, and that was so fun. And I remember like one of the bullies, like one of the guy bullies, that was like, damn. He didn't actually do that, but that's like the subtext of what he said. But they had him give me the papers to sign in the CEO scene. And I was like, oh my god, like I even like brought it up. I was like, you know, that might be a good idea to like show in the video because like it shows that the bully ends up working for the person that they were bullying and blah 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 blah. And but anyway, I thought that was really interesting and really cool. And like when I signed it, I signed my real name. Like I did my autograph, and it was just the coolest thing. It was just like, it was like I was put, and I remember like growing up and like watching like 15 and stuff and watching her music videos on like CMT, like in the mornings, like eating donuts and stuff. Like, so it was like I was like picked up and put into like the TV screen, so to speak. Like it was so crazy. And so I did the CEO scene, and it was just so cool. Like it was so cool. And so after that whole thing, I went downstairs, and she came downstairs to find me. And like she was like, we were talking and stuff, and she's like, so do you like want a picture? And I was too like nervous to ask for one. And just that gesture alone like speaks volumes of the kind of person she is, because she knew that I was like, she probably knew that I was nervous and I didn't want to overstep my bounds, but she like extended her hand out like that. Like she extended the offer out. And if she wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have got a picture with her. And I had like my pink little camera, and we took those pictures. And it was just like so, and in one of the pictures I have like my hand around her like very awkwardly, like I'm like, I felt like I was gonna break her or something, like she was like this like doll or something. So when I post those pictures I like crop my hand out because I'm like, and then she was like, and I want you to know, like, I just love your name, like your name is so cool. And I was just like, what is going on right now? And I remember me and some of the bully girls, they weren't bullies in real life, but the girls that played the bullies, we were sitting in the audience at the Orpheum Theater, and we were watching Joey King do her role. And it's so funny because some people on Instagram will think I'm Joey King. They're like, oh my god, you've grown up so much. And I'm like, I'm not Joey King. But then I was like, whoa, I had like a Shane Dawson moment. I was like, conspiracy, was that supposed to be me as a little kid? And then like me as the star was her growing up, and then like as the CEO was like Joey King grown up. Like what am I supposed to do with this? So conspiracy, but I don't know. But we were sitting watching Joey King do her scene, and we were just like, we had this moment where we were just like, where are we right now? Like what are we doing? Like we're hanging out with Taylor Swift at the Orpheum Theater. the streets are shut down and we're in here. Like, who let us in here? And it was just like, just sitting in that theater and feeling the power of the place and getting some relief from my real life. It was like, the only way I could describe it is magic. It was magical. And at the end of the day, like, I remember, you know, like, I had just spent the day with my hero. Like, I had just spent the day with, you know, my hero, but it felt like my best friend. And I remember, like, she like hugged me, and she was like, yeah, the video's gonna be out soon, and like, thank you so much, like, you were amazing. And like, she hugged my mom, and leaving there, it was just like I had been in a dream. And that whole experience, you know, she says, like, there's a quote from her, I think it was like, kindness is a good thing, a good legacy to leave behind. And that's what she is. She's like the kindest person I've ever met. And I have such a personal connection to her because of, you know, what I was going through, and that she basically saved me out of that dark time and made me feel like I was special in that moment. And she made me feel like I was worth something, like, when I felt worthless. And I think, you know, that's what she does with everybody. It's not just like me that I, you know, got this video and I got this opportunity. She does that with everybody. Like, even if you've never met her, she makes you feel like you're worth something. And to feel that power and to feel that in real life and have my experience, it's like otherworldly. And you know, years later, I saw this ornament at like Walgreens or something, and it was a Hallmark, and it was a hummingbird ornament. And I think it said like, be kind. I think it might have been for like bullying. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, so I have that ornament, and I put it up around every Christmas. Well, at first I was keeping it in the box, and then I was like, no, I need to take it out of the box and like actually use this. But every time I look at that ornament, I think about that time in my life and think about what Taylor did for me and what she's done for all of us. So we've reached the end. Say a prayer for editing me, because so far I've edited like half the video and it's 30 minutes. I just want to say how thankful I am for the Swiftie community, to be in such a loving group, a family of people. The Swiftie community is the nicest, most sweetest, kindest group of people you will ever find. And they accepted me, and they made me a part of their tribe. And now I feel like I'm finally a part of a tribe and a group of people. And I feel like I'm finally in a group where I'm accepted and loved. And I love all of you. And I thank Taylor so much for giving me so much, and for giving us all each other, basically. And I've met the kindest people through this family. I've met lifelong friends. And, you know, whether they like live in Canada or Wisconsin or Washington or New York, I hope we all meet one day. And if you take away anything from this video, I believe if all of us are kind to just one person a day, we could change the world. And if anybody out there is going through what I went through, just know that it gets better and you are not alone. And people throw rocks at things that shine. I haven't told my story really until now. And I know there's a lot of stuff that I left out. There could be part 2, part 3, part 4. We could go Shane Dawson on this. But for now, I want to leave it at that. And I just wanted to tell my story. And if I were to die tomorrow, like, the legacy I hope that I leave is that never sacrifice who you are. And never surrender to bullies. And be proud of who you are. And be kind. I want everybody out there to be proud of who they are. And to never give up who you are for someone else. I even now, I'm 22. Isn't that crazy? I'm making this video. And so what was crazy is I did the video when I was 13, and I'm making this video when I'm 22. Boom! That's some crazy stuff right there. I oftentimes refer to myself as my own best friend. And that's so important. Like, be your own best friend. Like, in times where, you know, you are alone. Like, I love myself, and the people that were mean to me did not succeed at what they were trying to do to me. They might have for a little bit, but I've come out the other side. It feels really weird to be like, this is it, this is the video, because I've, for years, thought about doing this video, but I never, like, knew how it would feel when I came to the end of it. I hope my story inspires you, and I hope it helps you feel less alone. And I hope that you watch the video with different eyes, and you see that there was a broken girl in that video, and she came out the other side. And look at me, I'm at my CEO desk. And you can too. And I just hope, that's the most I can hope, that that's what you take from this. And I hope you are inspired, and I gotta go take a nap or something. I need to calm down. It still feels so weird to end this. And just remember, all they are is mean. And if my 13-year-old self could see my 22-year-old self, I think she would be shook. And she would be like, rock on. I love your hair. It's great. Never stop. Never stopping. Also, if this ends up being a blooper reel, it's really crazy to know that, like, Jensen Ackles has probably seen the meme video. 200 million people have seen the meme video. Oprah, Ellen, Obama, Lady Gaga. I mean, imagine who's seen the meme video. Anyway.